So today is launch date of the brand new Banshee Enigma. I'm so excited for this bike. For the past year, Banshee and I have been working together on this bike. They've been sharing their design ideas with me early on in the stage, and I've been able to provide a little bit of design input into this, and I'm so excited for this thing. You know I love the Paradox, and this is like the little brother to the Paradox. It's a 27.5 rowdy bike, and I can't wait to tell you more about it. This is a prototype that they sent me several months ago, and I've had some time to get to know it a little bit better before launch date. But today's video is all about the first look. We're gonna weigh it, we're gonna build it up and take a look at it. Banshee took what they learned from the Paradox and built on that for this model. Basically, it's a shrunken down model to fit 27.5 tires. 27.5 bikes have a totally different feel than 29ers. A lot of us like the efficiency of 29ers, the way that they hold their momentum and carry through chunk a little bit better. But 27.5 is not dead. And often 27.5 bikes have a playful characteristic that you can't quite get with a 29er. So we've still got the wonderful machining out of here to give the bike some flex so it's not overly stiff. It's funny, when I ride my Paradox and I weight the pedals like this, my wife can watch it flex in here. And she said, I know that's supposed to be softer, but I can actually see the flexing, and that's pretty cool. Often when a company prototypes a bike, they're just trying to get a working model out the door quickly to get some design feedback on. So the paint's not perfect on this. We still have beautiful welds. It's still got that awesome tinted clear coat over the raw. It looks so cool. So on my bike, there's a couple little imperfections in there that are really picky, but that's because this is a prototype, not the final version. It's really cool seeing the aluminum and the big beefy welds. It reminds me of like an old B-2 bomber. It just has this really cool industrial look to it. Banshee bikes are designed in Canada, but they are not built in Canada. Like most quality bikes these days, they're made in Taiwan. The graphics are so subtle, but it's got this really cool copper Banshee logo on the bottom. Less is more, I believe, in graphics, and they knocked it out of the park on this. So final frame weight came in at 5.25 pounds with an axle, with the seat collar, and with the headset cups pressed in. That's heavier than some aluminum bikes. In fact, that's heavier than some steel bikes I've featured on the channel, but it's still at the lower end of what we're seeing for hardtails. Most hardtails I see are in the 4.5 to 8 pound range. I know it sounds crazy when we're used to full suspensions being in that same range, but that's where we are today. My Paradox never felt heavy and didn't feel overbuilt, but this isn't going to come in quite as light as my Spot Rocker carbon or some of those titanium frames that I feature, but it's also not priced like those. I think aluminum is a fantastic material to build frames with if you take into account the stiffness and engineer that out. And with the holes they've machined out in the dropouts and the stays, it really works on the Paradox, and I expect it to work on this as well. Aluminum's cool. It's lightweight and it doesn't rust. So even if you did nick the clear coat, it's not going to rust underneath. I think Banshee makes some beautiful bikes, and this is no exception. All right, enough talking. Let's get this thing built up. Now, this is a 27.5 bike. It is not a 27.5 plus bike. However, we want to see if 27.5 plus wheels fit, because I'm curious. I doubt it. It wasn't designed for it, but let's find out. This is a massive tire, a 27.5 by 3.0, and it's rubbing. I wouldn't feel good about a 2.8 either, but I do feel good about a 2.6. Let's try a 2.6 on here. This is one of my favorite wheel sets, the Atomic Carbon chubby wheel set with bird spokes. This fits no problem. And this is what I'm going to be running on this, because these are incredible wheels. Super light, super nice, soft feel with these string, not really string, but they're like string spokes. If you haven't seen the review on these wheels yet, go check that out. They're really special. This does not have sliding dropouts. Oh, there's tons of room on there. You might be able to get a narrow 2.8 on there. I wouldn't recommend it, but it might be possible. We got a good 8 mil of clearance over there. There's a ton of clearance, about the same clearance up in the seat stay yoke as in the chain stay yoke. As many of you know, I consult with my viewers on Patreon to help them pick the right bike. And a lot of people wanted to build up the Paradox with 27.5 plus tires. They'll fit in the frame, but the bottom bracket is so low, you'll get a ton of pedal strikes. So I don't recommend it. So if you wanted 27.5 by like 2.6, maybe 2.8. This might be the better option for you. It comes with this little ISCG tab spacer that you must use. These tabs allow you to run a bash guard or a chain guide or nothing at all and just have the tabs there. I'm probably going to run a bash guard on this because I think this is going to be a fun bike for trying crazy stuff on. For my dropper, I'm using the tried and true 9.8 Fall Line R. They're a partner of the channel. They make my favorite dropper for a lot of reasons. The seat is the easiest to adjust. They run low pressure, so the internals are not under a ton of pressure. You can reset it at the bar. If it gets a little bit squishy, you can reset it at the bar. It's got my favorite cable connection mechanism. When you pull the seat post out of the seat tube, the cable is attached to it and it comes with it. If you've never had that before and you raise or lower your seat, the cable in here on most droppers will come disconnected and develop slop. Then you have to pull it all apart and put it back together. Major pain. Also, the Fall Line R is extremely light. I love these dropper posts and I'm happy to run them on the channel and I highly recommend them. Like most quality things, they're not inexpensive, so you get what you pay for, but these are fantastic droppers. The fork we're going to feature on this build is the MRP Ribbon. I've been to their factory. The guys at MRP are awesome. Noah Sears is a shredder and a really great guy. And they build their forks in-house in Fruita, Colorado. So this is a 150 mil fork. It's a 27.5 fork. These frames come with a spare derailleur hanger and a headset, which is nice. So if you're building your own, you don't have to track down a headset that's compatible. One other company I want to feature on this build is Become Unique. They make unique decals to make your bike unique. And so on this build, we're going to swap out the stock MRP decals for copper decals to match the copper Banshee decals. Hugo's out of Portugal. I had a good experience working with him. I'm glad he sent these in to make this bike unique, and I'm happy to support him on this build. If you've got a bike that you want to make unique with different colored decals, different look and feel, especially Banshees. He's got a ton of Banshee stuff. Check him out. I got a link in the description below so you can go see what he's got available. So yeah, I'm going to pull these off and put on the new copper ones. Banshee turned me on to Hugo at Become Unique. They said, hey, if you want some unique stickers for this build, hit him up. I'm excited to try this out. MRP has a cool new option too for unique builds, is they're offering Cerakote coated lowers, so you can get different colored lowers down here. Pretty unique. I haven't seen anyone do that before. We all know how fun it is to have a unique looking bike that's like nothing else out there. These decals are a little bit thinner. They're a lot thinner. Oh, they look good though. Yeah, it's just a slightly different shape. I can't quite put it in the same exact spot as the MRP one. That's got to be hard, getting graphics perfectly aligned and perfect size. They sure look good. These are slightly too big. There we go. Copper is a slightly different color copper than the Banshee. This is almost a goldish copper, but still, they look like they match well. They complement each other well. All right, it's all built up and I'm excited for this thing. I love the industrial look, just the clear coat over the raw with the big beefy welds. I love the hydroform shape of their tubing. I love all the little things they do, like machine out material here so these can move on the seat stay yoke and the chain stay yoke and the dropouts in the back. Really cool design. It works extremely well on the Paradox, and I have no reason to believe it won't work extremely well on this. Pretty much the same design, just modified for a 27.5 rear wheel. This thing looks like it wants to party. It came in lighter than expected at 27.6 pounds. With pedals, I'm impressed. We've got a 150 mil fork on here, 2.6 tires. I mean, the wheels are nice and light, but everything else, bars and stem are pretty light. I guess that's light. We got the light dropper. Crankset's not light, but yeah, it's a great little build. Let me walk you through what we've got. We've got a Specialized Eliminator 2.6 in the front, atomic chubby wheel set with the bird fiber spokes with i9 1-to-1 hubs. Really fast engagement. In the back, we've got a Specialized Ground Control 2.6 tire. I'm running the MRP Ribbon 150 mil travel up front. That's what this bike was designed for. It's a 27.5 fork, not a 29er fork. That's important to differentiate because that changes the axle to crown. Running the We Are One Composites bar and stem. The package, they call it, they go together. Pretty light, pretty cool setup. I've got a 9.8 digit 2.0 dropper lever with a 9.8 fall line R 150 mil dropper. I've got a WTB Silverado saddle. Guide Ultimate brakes, front and rear, 200 mil front rotor, 180 mil rear rotor. I've got 170 mil race face affect cranks with a 30 tooth up front, because that's what I have. It'll be just fine for this. SRAM Eagle X01 12 speed on this thing. Build went super smooth. I forgot it does have internal cable routing through the chainstay, which was a little bit of a pain, but once it's all put together, it's pretty nice. Actually, that's a good way to run it. Yeah, this thing looks beautiful. It came in lighter than expected, and I cannot wait to play around on this thing. I left flat pedals on it because I plan on taking it to the pump track and the bike park and goofing around on it, and I think it's going to suit that really well. It's got that super short tucked in rear chainstay. This thing really has the potential to party, but we'll see. Did the design input I provided to Banshee help or make it worse? We'll see. What an awesome bike. Banshee, thank you for sending this ahead of time. There's a party in the mountains, and you're invited.